is still looming large over this administration. This week, we finally saw a transcript of Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's closed-door testimony, who's still trying to get his story straight about his relationship with Epstein. We also heard emotional testimony from the victims, a couple of them, who testified for the first time at a public hearing in West Palm Beach. Watch.
When institutions prioritize protecting the powerful and their enablers over protecting victims, abuse becomes normalized. If we continue down this path, the question isn't whether abuse will happen again, but who will be the next Jeffrey Epstein.
The fact that he could commit those acts made justice feel impossible to me, and it took my ability to seek for help. I kept my identity protected as Jane Doe. I woke up one day with my name mentioned over 500 times.
This story's not going away so fast, no matter how much they would like it to.
Yeah.
So do you think that this new, this new sort of upsurge in information, the girls talking, et cetera, you think that'll have any impact on the situation?
I mean, I think keeping it in the airwaves is the most powerful thing, because it was often the outcry of the public. It was so many voters who said, oh, we're going to get these Epstein files. And then
including MAGA voters.
Yeah. And here we are. But it was some people plus those victims speaking over and over again saying, don't stop talking about us.
Yes.
The really sad thing about Rosa, the one that was just talking with the dark hair, was she also testified that she was raped multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein around 2009, when he would have gotten out of prison the first time.
Oh.
So the serial nature of this pedophile is just disgusting. But
Well,
I think
he's a rapist more than a pedophile.
He's
a
all of the
rapist,
above.
everything.
Let's just give him all the titles he deserves.
Yeah.
But what I stand by is the talking has to keep up, so Ghislaine Maxwell never walks out of that prison, because the talks of what she might have agreed to or what this administration might have allowed for, she should never be out of prison. We don't have Jeffrey Epstein because he's now dead, but you cannot let go of Ghislaine and uncover the other people.
Yeah. To your question is whether there's something ever going to happen, whether there will be change. I think that if Democrats regain the House or the Senate, and they are then in charge of the committees with oversight, you will actually see real hearings, and they will be open to the public, and there will be transparency. But there's something I want to shed light on, because it's really bothered me this week, and it's been grossly underreported. So, as we know, Trump is in China, and he's had a delegation of U.S. business leaders with him. And among the people in that delegation, the official U.S. delegation is Brett Ratner. Now, Brett Ratner is a director and producer who was featured prominently in the Epstein files. There's at least 2 pictures of him with Epstein in the files that have been released so far. There were incredibly disturbing, serious allegations against him of sexual predatory acts. He was basically banished from Hollywood back in 2017 during the Me Too movement. He was brought back in now and is being rehabilitated because he's the guy that was the director and producer on the Melania documentary that Amazon allegedly bought for $40 million. Now, he denies all of these allegations. He's not been convicted of a crime. He's never been brought to a hearing to testify and ask questions. But I find it appalling and horrifying that at the same time Epstein victims are crying, giving their testimony, a man who is featured in those files, a man who was canceled by Hollywood for sexual predatory allegations, is part of the U.S. official delegation traveling with the President of the United States to China.
Ew.
That is gross.
I had not heard of this.
Wow.
I don't know why it's so underreported.
Why needs to get more attention.
That is disgusting. I don't understand.
He joined last minute, reportedly.
I don't understand what his role would be, other than maybe he's working on another documentary about the Trumps.
Apparently, he's scouting out places in China for his next movie.
It is just, the lack of accountability for this administration is despicable. It is disgusting. I don't trust this administration to release all of the files. We know now that there are about 6 million of them. Half were released. Todd Blanche, the Attorney General, claims that the 3 million that were withheld were either duplicative or, there were certain exceptions, and so they couldn't be released.
Duplicative meaning there are 2 of each?
There are 2 of each. So I don't really believe that. But I will say this: when I worked at the DOJ,
But if there's two of each, release them and let people see it.
Yes, release them all. That's what I think. And I think, Alyssa, you know this. I mean, when I worked for the DOJ, the GAO, the Government Accountability Office, it's an independent agency, and I always trusted that office to investigate the Department of Justice. And my understanding is that office is investigating the Department of Justice right now, and they are investigating the Department of Justice's handling of the Epstein-related records following the allegations of these excessive redactions that we're hearing about, and the failure to follow the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was a bipartisan legislation. So I think more information. To answer your question, Joy, I think more information is going to come out eventually, not only after the midterm elections, which I think there's going to be a Democratic sweep, but also with the GAO.
Well, and Sunny, a reminder that there were heavy redactions, but not where it would have mattered. Correct.
Yeah,
with the survivors.
They didn't redact the survivors' names, but they redacted the perpetrators' names.
That's why I don't think anything's going to ever happen.
But in speaking of elections, this coming week, I would argue two congressmen have been front and center and most influential in getting what we've seen of the Epstein files, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. And this Tuesday, Thomas Massie is up in a primary in Kentucky because Trump and his allies are trying to unseat him. This is somebody who's been in Congress for about a decade. He has been a squeaky wheel trying to get transparency for these survivors.
He's a Republican.
He's a Republican who's voted with Trump roughly 90% of the time.
He's interesting. He's sort of a libertarian.
Yes, he leans more libertarian. I don't agree with him on everything, but I think he's shown tremendous courage in this. He will likely lose his career because of it. And this has become the most expensive primary in history. The money that is being thrown at trying to silence Thomas Massie, try to get him out of Congress because of these Epstein files.
That says volumes.
That speaks for itself, and I think the public needs to pay attention. You don't have to agree with Massie, but this is somebody who has showed up for women, he has showed up for victims, and he's willing to put his whole future on the line.
So what is it that will take?
But that is the question. What are you covering up? What is this administration not showing the public? We know there are millions of documents.
If Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton had to testify in front of a congressional hearing, I think certainly Donald Trump and Melania Trump, who are far more featured in these files, because there's not a single picture or a single interaction that we have seen between Hillary Clinton and Epstein. We have seen pictures and interactions between Melania and Epstein.
But Joy, to say nothing's going to happen, we have seen so much movement on this in the last calendar year that I think just for the survivors' sake, we have to believe more can be done, because I can't imagine feeling more hopeless than someone that's gone through what they have.
You know what I have to mention? A much delayed but very fair the Miami Herald reporter, Julie K. Brown, whose expose back in 2017 revealed all of these things and put the spotlight back on Epstein. She just received now in 2026 a Pulitzer Prize,
which is incredible.
And keep in mind, if the Department of Justice continues to stonewall on the remaining files, the estate of Jeffrey Epstein still has a lot of documentation, and Congress can continue to try to get that information.
But the key to all of this is Ghislaine also, and so far.
In that she's being
she is a liar,
in prison.
and she needs to stay in prison. Like
no, she needs to go to a different.
An actual
She needs to go back
not
to
just
the
Club Med
real
prison.
prison. They need to kick her out of the spa prison and put her in a real prison.
Treat all pedophiles. That's what I would.
But I want to hear what she has to say, don't you?
No, I don't believe her at all. She did this testimony and got moved.
They all are lying. I mean, at least she was there.
Well,
she knows.
I do think that
Joy, she'll say whatever it takes to save her own ass.
I think we need to mention that Trump and Melania have denied any wrongdoing and any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. I think that's very important.
All righty then. We'll have more hot topics when we come back. And if you're not watching the weekend show, here's what you're